Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Madness University. This is LZ, and I am here with Nick. And today, everybody, we are going to cover card care and storage. So, what do you need to do to your cards to care for them and store them correctly? And something to look forward to at the end of every Madness University episode moving forward, we are going to have a pop quiz where either myself or Nick challenges the other with an interesting pop quiz question
with
topic.
no preparation, right?
Zero preparation. Zero.
Fantastic.
And
Fantastic.
it pains me with my personality that I can't see the questions ahead of time, but that's all right. This
Rock
will be
on.
great.
All
All
right.
right, Nick. So let's get into it. So card care and storage. What are
Yeah.
some of the couple things that you want to tell the audience about how best to store your cards and care for them?
I've actually got the first thing I've got is a watch out. And this surprised me a lot when I first got into the hobby. I didn't realize how bad screw downs were. When I grew up as a kid, or when I go to card shows or something, I always thought of this brick as like the most secure tank possible that
Mm.
could contain a piece of cardboard. Like this is indestructible. People have them on their walls, when in fact it's like the worst thing to do to a card, especially over a period of like 30 years. So what happened? The way I realized this, I was buying Kareem Abdul-Jabbar rookies from 1969, and I was unscrewing them. I take them out, and it's like every single time I'd send them to PSA, and they wouldn't meet the specs. And I was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about? This card's fine." Because over 30 years it flattened it like a pancake, and that's not good. So there actually is a remedy though, and I have had success with this. So I have had cards not spec out, and I have let them just breathe, not in a humidor, nothing like that, just literally in the room outside of the screw down, and they return to spec.
Mm.
So if you have a screw down, especially if it's like a high end card, like a Jordan, it probably is a high end card because you put it in a screw down.
Yeah.
Take it out before you send it anywhere. Let that thing breathe, and never use a screw down for storage again. They're hard to even find now, to be honest, because they're so bad. But that was like a huge watch out for me in the beginning.
And then Nick, the other thing too is I have some of those old screw downs is you've like stripped the actual screw itself. I don't know if you've seen
Oh
those where like you can't
yeah.
even unscrew them anymore.
Now you're getting into handyman territory. You got to get an
Yeah.
ice pick out and like
Yeah,
some
oh yeah.
gum and
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
toothpicks.
Yep.
That's not fun. I've
No.
been there too. And not only
Yes.
that, sometimes the screw downs is so bad that the card is attached to it. Like you'll
Oh,
peel the card
stuck.
off,
Oh.
and it's like boom, PSA one.
Mm-hmm.
So no screw downs. And if you buy a screw down, make sure you get a
Throw them
huge
out.
discount
Throw them out.
and just
Return them.
assume, yeah, like
Yeah.
assume if you buy a screw down,
Yeah.
it's going to be authentic, not altered or nothing like that. It's just going to be a real card smushed.
Yes.
That's one big advice.
Okay.
Now, the other one is interesting. This surprised me again. So we had Nat Turner on again for the second time. And I always assumed I'm an autograph collector and I have a few cards out all the time on my desk. And, I've got a bright and sunny office. And I thought, okay, because they're in a PSA slab, it's fine. Like, it's got UV protection and it's good. Nat told us, he's like, I don't have any of my, like, the best place to put your cards is in a dark safe.
Mm-hmm.
And he even said, PSA UV protection is not foolproof. So, I mean, by all means, like if you want to look at your card, just whatever, look at your card, maybe rotate them. Like 3 months it's on your desk, and then 9 months it goes in the
Yeah.
safe.
Swap them
Rotate
out.
the cards out,
Mm-hmm.
or get a nice like Marshall Fogel. He's got a nice 8x11 picture of his PSA 10, $25 million Mickey
Perfect.
Mantle card. Do
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Maybe get those digital like Kodak, like those digital frames.
Frames.
Yeah, flash them across. But be careful if you're leaving things out for like years in the sun, even if they're slab. So that's my two pieces of
Business
advice.
idea alert, Nick. It's like there's like flashes going off in my head. Business idea alert. I think there probably is something there for
Hmm.
people around a digital frame or create posters 8x10s of your really nice cards. You get them framed, you put them on your wall. And it could be the PSA slab, right? So you can see your exact serial number on it.
Yeah.
But I think there's something there
Yeah,
for
I
the
agree.
audience. If you're looking for a business idea, that might be the
Totally.
way to go. All right. My two that I thought of. One is not light exposure, but more temperature exposure as well. Kind of the elements. We've had Kurt's Card Care on before as well, and he kind of talks a lot about this. And even when he tries to like revitalize cards, he does use, moisture and temperature to kind of get them going again. Similar to what you said with some of these screw down cases, right? That you got to let humidity get at them. But especially if you live like in parts of the country or the world where there's a big fluctuation in temperature. Like we talk all the time how we're Boston guys, so we're in New England, and New England can get down to negative degrees in the winter, and it can get to 100 degrees in the summer. So
Mhm.
if you have your cards up in the attic and they're experiencing that -10 degrees, and then a couple months later, it's now 100 degrees. That is gonna have an impact on your
Especially
cards.
if they're in a screw down getting
Then it's a double whammy. Oh man, then we're in real trouble. But yeah, I think I would say find a constant temperature. I mean, a good constant temperature would actually be the basement. Now, sometimes you got to worry about different elements in the basement with moisture and things like that. But if you have, it's why wine cellars are in the basement, because
yeah.
wine kind of stays at that constant temperature. Even just first or second floor, try not to have them in the attic. You're going to be
Mm.
impacting your cards being in the attic. So that is a tip for everybody. The second tip, because I am kind of the cybersecurity professional of this particular show, I do think about security a lot, and this is more around a few phases for this, right? A lot of our cards, like we see them online all the time, like we're talking big money for these cards.
Mm.
Um, and you want to make sure that you're securing these in a good place. Like if you have a set or a card that's worth like $500,000, think of that as jewelry. Like, would you have a $500,000 Rolex just like sitting on your bedside table? I think most of us probably wouldn't. I mean, some of us would because, we don't care. But think about that. You got to think about it as jewelry. That's the
Yeah.
simplest way. Or a watch. Like you got to protect them.
A
Some people,
portable, valuable item.
yeah, it's portable, right? You might have some cleaners that come in the house. You might have a contractor that comes in the house, and it's very easy for them to steal that $500,000 item. Um, for sets, I mean, I've even heard of people using safety deposit boxes at
Mm.
banks. That's one thing you can do. Some of us actually have safes in our house, whether it's a safe for documents or even some of you who are into firearms, you probably have a safe for your firearms. Like use those
You can
safes,
even vault
everybody.
them at PSA,
Yep.
other PWCC. I know they changed their name now, but you can vault them in other places too.
And that is a way of transferring risk. We talk about that a lot in the
Mm.
cybersecurity industry is you only want to take on risk if you have to. So that
Yeah.
is a way that you
Insurance
could.
is another way to transfer risk too.
Hmm.
So, that people have like $1 million collections with no insurance. It's just crazy to me.
It's
And
wild.
it's a lot of risk.
It is.
So pay that few $100 a year
Yeah.
and insure the thing,
Yeah.
get it appraised and insure it.
And then the other side of it too, Nick, that I was thinking about, and this is just even for mistakes I've done. Here I am as a cybersecurity professional. I still make these mistakes. For the audience who follows me on IG, I put a lot of my TTM videos through the mail videos on IG, where it's kind of me ripping the envelope, and I kind of show what cards came back. Sometimes I have to do multiple takes of that because I screwed up, and I showed on the video my name and home address. Like these are things that you just don't want to be putting online.
Be
Um,
careful. Yeah.
screenshots of your laptop and maybe has your name at the bottom. Maybe it shows some email addresses.
You
Like
are
you
such
just,
a punk with that with me. So just for the audience, LZ, like I'll just whatever. I'll send him an idea for the pod. I'll send him anything, right?
yeah,
And he's just like, "Oh, nice text to your wife over there."
yeah.
And
Zoom
oh
in
man,
again
so
and
now I
again
got
and
to
again.
crop everything I send to LZ. It's
Hmm.
great.
No, it is true. It is true. Just think about it. Just be thoughtful anything that's on the internet is going to be there forever, right? So you certainly don't want your name, your address, your
Yeah.
even like your kids' photos in the background. Like sometimes, like
Shipping
you
label
know,
from a client, you're opening a
yeah.
box, you're doing a PSA reveal or
Hmm.
something, you know.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
be
Just
careful.
make sure you double check your videos and what you're posting online. So I'll leave it at that, Nick. So those are some good tips. So we had no screw downs, we had um light exposure, we had temperature exposure, and we had some security tips.
Excellent. So
All
I'm
right.
getting the pop quiz, right?
Pop quiz time.
God.
Pop quiz, everybody. This first one's like a layup. I don't think you'll have any problems with this one. All right. Me and Nick, we talk a lot about kind of how old we are. We grew up in the 80s and the 90s. Like, I know there's a lot of great video games now with Xbox and PlayStation, but we grew up during like the OG heyday of video games, like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. I feel like there's a Biggie song, something like that. So, all right, give me your top three video games growing up, 80s and 90s, top three video games. Don't cover
Okay, okay.
2000s. Let's do 80s and 90s.
All right, yeah. Super Mario 3. I mean, that was such an eventful day for me. That's number one. I went to my buddy's house and I just forgot about the world. I think I slept over and I just like I didn't even care about school. When that came out, I was just like, this is the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah, because
Um,
Mario could fly
yeah,
in
dude,
that
it
video game.
was
That
so
was
good. It was so
well,
good.
no, yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you finish, and then I have a story around that.
All right.
Go
So
on.
we had Mario 3 is number one by
Okay.
far. I'm gonna put an arcade game in here before I
Okay.
give
Cool.
the third one. So Pac-Man, it's the most addictive game ever. I have a
Mm.
Pac-Man. I built an arcade Pac-Man thing for my attic. It's
Hmm.
amazing. And in this day and age, my son has every VR headset. We have a PS5, and you know what? He goes upstairs to the attic and plays Pac-Man. That thing is rock solid.
That's
45
cool.
years later or whatever.
Yeah.
So doing that, and then damn, man, this is tough. I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy VII. Just like
Oh.
this ridiculous role-playing game. Yeah,
Final Fantasy was huge. I
yeah,
actually didn't play it really growing up, but
that's
I know
awesome.
how I know it was massive.
It's awesome.
Um, back to the Mario 3. What was the name of that movie with Fred Savage that led up to dropping Mario 3, where he like toured the country on his way to like this Nintendo tournament, and they showed off the Power Glove in that video in the movie. Oh, this is killing us that we can't
I
remember this.
remember. I know exactly what you're talking about.
All
All
right,
right,
you know what?
audience, let us help
I'm
us
gonna
remember.
I'm gonna give my three, and then
Okay,
while I'm doing that, maybe you can think of it.
okay.
All right. So I do have one copycat. Mario 3 was on my list. Mario 3, just the level of, I don't know, just the colors and what you could do, like all these extra features. And again, this movie like pumped up the fact that this Mario 3 was coming soon too. So that is number one. I'm actually shocked that you didn't say this next one.
Hmm.
I'm shocked that you didn't say GoldenEye.
Oh man, that is
James
90s.
Bond GoldenEye.
Wow,
Yes,
that was like
Nintendo 64.
98. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
because
I was kind of thinking it was 2000.
I played in high school, man.
Oh, that
So yeah,
game's
it definitely
ridiculous.
was.
Another game that my son plays no
Yeah.
problem. He'll drop everything to play GoldenEye.
And you could get the golden cartridge too of it
Yeah.
as well. Like that was like the
Yeah, yeah,
special
yeah.
one.
We
Yeah.
have an old school N6. We have every old school system, and I have
Hmm.
a thing from the N64 right to the big screen TV, so we play Bond on it. It's awesome. Good choice.
All right. And speaking of golden cartridges, The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
The
The
Legend of
N64 one,
Zelda. Yeah. No,
the
not
original one.
the original
Okay.
Super NES. Um, that was like almost like loved it and hated it at the same time because I'm sure many of the listeners and people watching, you would get to like, I don't know, maybe there was like 12 levels. You would work your way up. You would build up all these, I have the best sword and the best shield. And you'd shut it off one night and you'd go to turn it on the next day and everything wouldn't be saved.
Oh, that
Nothing.
was
And
really
you'd have
annoying.
to start
Really
at the
annoying.
very beginning.
If you
At
lose
the very
power,
beginning.
oh,
Oh,
you
it's the
guys have
worst.
no idea what we dealt with in the 80s. All right,
All
so I got
right.
the name. That movie's called The Wizard. All
The
right,
Wizard.
I could
Yes.
sleep tonight.
Yes.
So the
Mhm.
audience doesn't have to help us. But that was
So
good.
we had Mario 3, Pac-Man, Final Fantasy, Legend of Zelda, and Golden Eye.
All great choices.
All
Sweet.
right.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.